Very good afternoon to all my dear children. In today's English class, we are going to start a new prose. Okay, so you all know that we have completed two prose and one poem, right? So today we are going to start a new prose, an interesting lesson, and a comic lesson also. Okay, shall we all? So I want each and everyone to take your English book, Gems English Reader, and turn to the page number 107 107 107. So 12th lesson, a fishy story. So by seeing this topic itself, you have come to an idea that this lesson is about a fish. Okay, a fishy story. So take your pencil and follow me. This is an extract from Jerome K. Jerome's humorous book, Three Men in a Boat. So, humorous means comedy, okay, funny, okay. So, this story, it has been taken from K. Jerome's humorous book. So, three men were in a boat. The narrator and his two friends, George and Harris, along with their dog. Okay, Montmorency are on a boating holiday on the river Thames. One day in a little village inn, they see a most remarkable fish in a glass case. Read on to find out more about the fish. So the characters, the narrator and his two friends. Okay, George and Harris along with their dog. Okay, so where they are going for a boating holiday on the river Thames. So one day in a little village inn, INN, inn means a small hotel, okay, where you can eat, you can stay, okay. In that inn, they are seeing a remarkable fish in a glass case. You can see this picture, okay. So now by reading this lesson, we are going to get more information about this fish. So follow me, children. First one. We stayed 2 days at Streatley. The neighborhood of Streatley and Goring is a great fishing center. So we stayed 2 days at Streatley. So who is the narrator is narrating the story where they stayed at for 2 days. Streatley. The neighborhood of Streatley and Goring is a great fishing center where you can fish, where you can catch fishes. Then on the second evening, George and I and the dog went for a walk to Wallingford. So narrator, George and a dog. Okay, these three members, they were going for a walk to Wallingford. Coming back, we stopped at Little Riverside Inn. We went in and sat down. See, actually when they were walking, they saw an inn. Inn means, I already told you, a small hotel which you can stay and you can eat there. Okay, now they are going inside the inn and they sat down also. Okay, there was an old fellow there and we began chatting. He told us that it had been a fine day that day, and we told him that it had been a fine day the day before, and then we all told each other that we thought it would be a fine day next day. So they are seeing an old man and they were chatting with that man and they are talking about the day is very fine day, everything they were chatting. After that, we told him that we were strangers in the neighborhood and that we were going away the next morning. Then there was a pause in the conversation and our eyes wandered round the room. Actually, they were talking that they were strangers in the neighborhood, and the next morning, anyway, they are going to leave. When they were talking like this, there was a pause in the conversation. Pause means stop. They stopped a while and they were their eyes were wandering around the room. So normally we people also like that. If we go somewhere else, okay, someone's house, what we used to do? We used to just see how their house is, right? Everything, how it's been decorated, how it's been placed, all the things, everything, what are the new things they have been placed in the shelf, everything we used to see, right? Same like that. They finally rested upon a dusty old glass case, fixed high upon the wall and containing a trout. So what is meant by trout? Trout means a large freshwater fish. Okay. When they saw old glass case, very dusty glass case, which has been fixed high upon the wall, and it contained what? A trout. Trout means a large, okay, freshwater fish. It fascinated me, the trout. It was such a monstrous fish. Monstrous means extremely large. They were shocked, they were surprised, they were stunned by seeing that because the trout was very, very big. "Ha," said the old gentleman, following my eyes. "Fine fellow that, isn't he?" Now, uh, actually, this old man, that man, he was watching these two members, narrator and his friend, because they were stunned off by seeing that fish. So after seeing that, this man, okay, fine fellow, no, that is, isn't he? Like that, he's asking question. "Quite uncommon," I murmured. "So such a big fish, which is there upon the high wall, see how it is possible." So they were very surprised. And George asked how much it weighed. 18 pounds 6 ounces, said our friend, rising and taking down his coat. Okay, now George is asking how much it weighed because it looks very big. How much it weighed? Now, 18 pounds 6 ounces, said our friend. So how much? 18 pounds. 18 pounds 6 ounces means a little more than 8 kilograms. Little more than 8 kilograms. Okay. Yes, he continued. It was 16 years ago that I caught him just below the bridge with a minnow. Minnow means a small fish which is used for a bait, for a trap to catch the big fishes. Okay. That man is telling that before 16 years ago I caught this fish below a bridge with a minnow. You don't see many fish of that size now. Well, good night, gentlemen. So he is telling, you don't see that much fish nowadays. Okay, that much size nowadays. Okay, well, good night, gentlemen. He said like that and he left. And out he went and left us alone. Okay, next. Page number 108. We could not take our eyes off the fish after that. It really was a fine fish. We were still looking at it when the local carrier who had just stopped at the inn came to the door of the room and he also looked at the fish. So what happens, no? The narrator and his friend, no, they cannot able to take off their eyes from the fish. So they will keep on shocking after seeing that how big it is. So still they were looking at it. So that time only the local carrier, he is coming inside and he is also looking at the fish. Good sized trout that, said George, turning round to him. So now George is telling to that local carrier, good size it is. Okay. You may well say that, sir, replied the man. And then he added, maybe you weren't here, sir, when that fish was caught. Now we told him we are strangers in the neighborhood. Now these two members, no, they are telling that they were strangers in the neighborhood, everything about them to the local carrier. It was nearly 5 years ago that I caught that trout, said the carrier. Now already they heard the story about the fish from an old gentleman. 16 years ago, he said that 16 years ago he caught the fish under the bridge with the minnow. Now this local carrier, he is telling that before 5 years, okay, before 5 years he caught the trout. Okay. Oh, was it you caught it, said I. Now the narrator is, was it you caught? Neenga pidichingala? Like that he is asking. Okay. Yes, sir, replied the fellow. I caught him one Friday afternoon, and the remarkable thing about it is that I caught him with a fly. Well, you see, he weighed 26 pounds. Good night, gentlemen, good night. Fly means a feather-like artificial object. It is actually artificial object only. It looks like an insect. So it is used to catch fishes. Okay, it is like a bait. Okay. Now this man is telling that one Friday afternoon he caught this thing with the help of fly everything, and it weighs 26 pounds. So that man, he said 18 pounds 6 ounces. This man is telling 26 pounds, and he said good night, and he went. 5 minutes afterwards, a third man came in and described how he had caught the trout early one morning, and then he left, and a middle-aged individual came in and sat down by the window. Again, after this local carrier, the third man, he came in, and he also described about how he caught the fish. So whoever is coming into the inn, everyone are telling that they caught the fish. Okay, everything they are creating and they are telling. So again, after the third man, a middle-aged individual man, he came in and he sat down by the window. None of us spoke for a while. Now these two members, no, they didn't speak at all. Okay. Then George turned to him and said, I beg your pardon, my friend, and I would be much obliged if you would tell us how you caught that trout up there. Now George himself, he asked to that person, middle-aged man, I beg your pardon, my friend, I would be much obliged. That means I would be very grateful if you tell the story. And he comes to know that anyway this man is also going to tell that he had caught this. So he himself asked that man. Okay. So next page, 109. Who told you I caught the trout? Was a surprised question. So after George asked that middle-aged man, he was asking, who told you that I caught the trout? And this question was actually very surprised for these men. Okay. We said that nobody had told us, but we felt that it was he who had caught it. Well, it's a most remarkable thing, answered the stranger laughing. Because you are quite right, I did catch it. But imagine your guessing is like that. Dear me, it's really a most remarkable thing. And then he told us how it had taken him half an hour to catch it and how it had broken his rod. He said he had weighed it carefully when he reached home, and it was 34 pounds. After asking that question, he also created a story, and he said that it took half an hour to catch that fish, and while catching it, his rod was broken and it weighed. So he has taken that fish carefully to his home, and it weighed 34 pounds. So he is also telling everything. When he was gone, the owner of the inn came in. We told him the various stories we had heard about this trout, and we all laughed. So now the owner of the inn, he came, and these two men, the narrator and the George, they told about the various stories, what they heard from all these four men, and they laughed. Imagine Jim Bates and Joe Muggles and Mr. Jones and old Billy Maunders all telling you that they had caught it. Ha ha ha, well, that is good, said the honest old fellow. So all these four men, those names was given there. Now they were laughing. Then he told us the real history of the fish. Now the owner of the inn, he is telling the real history. It was he who had caught it years ago when he was a boy. When he had left the room, George and I again turned our gaze upon the fish. Now against this same, he also said that I only caught this. After he went that side, again these two members, they were again seeing that room, and they were gazing upon the fish. It really was a most astonishing trout. It excited George so much that he climbed up on the back of a chair to get a better view of it. Now what the George is doing, he was very much surprised, and he was very much astonished. He again and again he wants to see that. So what happens, with the help of a chair, so to get a better view, he was climbing on the chair and he want to see it. So he is doing all those things. And then the chair slipped and the George clutched wildly at the trout case to save himself, and down it came with a crash, George and the chair on the top of it. So what happens, suddenly what happened, the chair, it slipped. So to balance, to save himself, he just he held the fish glass case, and what happens, the trout case, so what, suddenly a sound like a crash. So after seeing that, George on George, the chair was there, he fell down. You haven't injured the fish, have you? I cried in alarm, rushing up. Now the narrator, he was very much shocked. He's asking, have you injured the fish? With a very loud noise he's asking. But he had, the trout lay shattered into 1,000 fragments. I say 1,000, but I did not count them. See, the fish, the trout, it shattered into 1,000 fragments. உடஞ்சு போயிடுச்சு, சுக்கு சுக்கா, 1000 கணக்கு சுக்கா உடஞ்சு போயிடுச்சு. But he didn't count it, but in a very, many pieces it's been. Okay, we found it very strange that a trout should break up into little pieces like that. After the fish fell down, will it be get into pieces, fragments? No. So then you have to come to an idea that it is not a real fish. But then we discovered why it did. The fish was made of plaster of Paris. Plaster of Paris means hard white substance. Commonly doctors has been used to set the broken bones, okay, and the artists and all, they will use to make statues. Okay, so I told you, at last it will be very comic. Thank you so much, children. Please go through this lesson. There are many new words from page number 107 to page number 109. Thank you all.